Live Formula One.
A sprint weekend, a busy sprint Saturday. As always, we had a sprint race and we had qualifying for the Grand Prix, and 1996 Formula One world champion Damon Hill was alongside me for all of it. Let's start with Grand Prix qualifying, Damon, and it was Lando Norris who took pole position, and this was a good bounce back for him, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. I think it was necessary. I think it was important, especially after the sprint race. He didn't really get a chance to take points off of Oscar, and they didn't win that. I mean, Max won the sprint, so it was a little bit of a setback for McLaren, but I think a great performance. He actually nailed it on the first run of the final session of Q3, and that was the lap that stood. In fact, no one, I think, improved apart from Alexander Albon, I think maybe, or Charles maybe improved. A few people improved in the last run, but the guys at the front didn't. And so it will be an interesting reminder to Oscar Piastri from Lando that I'm quick too.
It's a McLaren front row lockout with Piastri in second, and while he has looked quicker, and I'm sure he'll be disappointed not to get pole, it's not the end of the world round here not getting pole position, is it?
No, it's an unusual one, this one, because it's a hugely long run to the first corner. In effect, the first corner is La Source hairpin, but most people will get to that. There's not much of a run down to it, so it's very difficult to get a better start and get ahead by the time you get to La Source. So what happens is they come around, assuming all things are equal and there are no hiccups, then they'll exit. If they exit in their grid position out of La Source hairpin, the guys behind get a huge tow. In fact, at the back of the grid, you get the biggest tow of all. So you suddenly find yourself accelerating past about 5 cars. And you have to watch it. You don't get sucked into something. But the guy who's second and third even, behind, assuming it's Lando Norris going into Leclerc at the top of the hill, the guy who's third will be getting a huge tow and will get more speed and will have an opportunity to slingshot past as you come up to Leclerc, the first real corner.
Well, that guy who is third is actually Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. So do you think they can actually play a factor here? Because they haven't looked as quick as the McLarens or indeed the Red Bull of Verstappen so far.
No, I think it was a tremendous performance by Charles Leclerc, actually, in that Ferrari. They've got some modifications. They've got slightly different rear suspension. And listening to some of the technical reports, they've copied a little bit of what McLaren have been doing to their suspension setup. So they've learned a few things, but that was a great result. Actually out-qualifying Max Verstappen on this circuit is no mean feat. Max didn't get the run he wanted. He rather fouled up the first corner coming out to start his lap and lost traction, and he knew that was the damage was done. So whether that's representative or not, I don't know. But nevertheless, great time from Ferrari, Charles Leclerc. So are they in with a shout? I don't think so. I think they probably have. But we've got the fudge factor of the weather. But if it was dry tomorrow, I think you'd see 2 McLarens going off into the distance. And then the question would be, who's going to become world champion eventually at the end of the season? And it's going to be 2 guys, one of those 2 guys.
It's going to be another exciting one. Max Verstappen qualified 4th in the end for the Grand Prix, but of course he started off the day pretty well, taking the sprint race win with huge amounts of pressure from both McLaren drivers trying to chase him down. That Verstappen Red Bull car looks quick in a straight line. Why is that so crucial around this track?
Well, it's an odd circuit in that it's made up of effectively 2 long straights, joined up in the middle by a very fast, twisty section. And so you've got an option. You can be quick there, or you can be quick down the straights, or you can be quick in the middle section, but you can't be both. The wing, the amount of wing you put on it influences your ability to corner, but it also creates drag. So on the straight, and if you're in a race situation, you can be slow through the middle sector. If the guys can't get past you, then they'll never get you on the straight because you're quick down the straight. So this is the perennial challenge of Spa, is to choose which you want to do. It's no good being quick down the straight if you're last, because you're not going to get anyone. In the corners they'll get away from you and then you won't get them back again.
No, well, we've still got a little bit more to dive into when it comes to what happened in the sprint race and Grand Prix qualifying. In terms of the top 3, let's hear from them now, speaking to Nico Rosberg.
Wow, Charles Leclerc, P3. Did you see that coming? I mean, I think you absolutely maximized it at the end there.
Not really. I mean, I'm very happy today. It's strange to say that because it's still 3/10 and it's only a third place, but I did not expect it. I think we thought we were quite a lot more back. We knew that we had something more in the car, obviously with the upgrade this weekend, but we still struggled yesterday. But that was a really, really good lap, and I'm very happy with the lap, very happy how the car felt. So it's good that we put everything together for quali.
What'd you put it down to? Did you make some big changes or just found a better rhythm?
No, I mean, obviously it takes a little bit of time to maximize those upgrades that we put on the car. So there was a little bit of things that we've changed, but nothing major. It was all about putting everything together, and I felt comfortable with the car since FP1. So it's good to have a qualifying where you look back and you know you haven't left anything on the table.
I'm sure podium then is your objective also for tomorrow, but you have Max Verstappen right behind you in fourth. Do you think you're going to be able to hold him behind?
I don't know yet, but for sure the race pace looked very strong this morning. I couldn't keep up with them. So, but again, with the small changes we've done, I hope that this gives us the upper hand to us tomorrow in the main race.
All right, great job with P3. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Oscar, after yesterday's dominant qualifying, P1 yesterday in the sprint qualifying, today you could only manage second. Are you okay with that, or is that disappointing?
A bit disappointing, yes. The second lap was coming together really well, and just made a little mistake into 14 and lost a lot of time. So disappointed. I felt like the car was very good again, but it's fine margins out there. So it's obviously not a bad place to be starting, but I think there was more in it, which is always disappointing.
You surprised also by how Lando was actually able to improve now throughout the weekend? Was he maybe learning stuff from you and looking at the data there?
I don't know. I mean, I think we're a good teammate pairing, and we learn a lot from each other every weekend. And that's what makes us such a good team. But it also makes it difficult when you're trying to fight each other. So I don't know. But I feel like I did an okay job today. Just didn't quite execute when it mattered. And bit of a shame.
Being P2 on the grid then, are you actually happy that tomorrow it's looking very mixed on the weather? That could open things up and increase your chances to get one back on Lando tomorrow in the race?
Yeah, I mean, after the sprint, I was aiming for P2. So, I don't know what the weather's going to hold tomorrow. I think it's going to be quite different. So, we'll wait and see what we get. But, try and have a good race.
Okay, so we're looking forward to you trying to copy what Max did on you in the sprint this morning up into turn 5 on Lando tomorrow then. Thanks a lot, Oscar. All the best.
Thank you.
Lando, what an amazing job you did there. Great recovery also and great progress from earlier in the weekend. And that middle sector, how insane was that?
Which one?
The middle sector you put in.
Oh, I don't know. So
can't remember.
I mean, it was a decent lap, of course. So, yeah, happy. I don't know. Everyone was pretty worried after yesterday. I wasn't even that far off. It was just a couple little issues that we had. So I was confident after yesterday and confident coming into today. So it's nice to see that I could get back to the top.
Is there one thing you can point towards? Like yesterday, you were almost 5 tenths off, and now you're like 1.5 tenths up.
Yeah.
Where did the improvement come from?
3 tenths is just slipstream and not being first out the pit lane. So it was nothing to worry about. But people like to make a lot of things up. But no, I felt good. The car has been flying all weekend. Oscar's been doing a good job all weekend. So we're pushing each other a lot, like he said. It's tough because you kind of see where your strengths and weaknesses are easily, and you learn from each other quickly. So it's a good but tough battle that we have at the minute.
So Lando Norris then puts it on pole for the Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri second, Charles Leclerc third, Max Verstappen fourth. That is a really tasty top four, actually, when you look at it. The McLarens, we know, they have the overall outright fastest package, but they couldn't get past Max Verstappen in the sprint race. Now, there's a lot of talk, isn't there, Damien, about low downforce and skinny wings and things like that. We seem to have gleaned that the McLarens decided, well, they couldn't go for any more or less downforce to try and make themselves quicker on the start-finish straight. But can you just explain a bit about what that gives to the McLarens and where they can go for the Grand Prix if they do find themselves stuck behind a Red Bull or a Ferrari?
Yeah, they can't do anything. I mean, that's their limit. Apparently, we've been told that their rear wing setup is their lowest rear wing setup. Now, we've got Monza coming up next. Well, I'm assuming they have got fast enough straight line speed for that, because you do need to run very little rear wing for that. So I'm assuming they can still take some off. But for here, they are where they are. So even for the race tomorrow, if they're on the lowest rear wing, even if it's wet, they're not gonna be able to take wing off. But they wouldn't want to anyway. But they have to run what they've got from qualifying today. So presumably the extra downforce that they have on, assuming that is the case with Max as well and Ferrari, then they might have a big advantage for wet weather. But in terms of straight line speed, they're going to have to contend with not being able to potentially get right past one of those other cars that have less downforce and less drag.
If the two McLarens end up fighting themselves, are we going to see that fight? Do you think McLaren are going to continue to let them battle it out on track?
I think the scenario you've got is if a Ferrari and a Red Bull get in front of the McLarens, can they deal with them? Well, of course, in the sprint it might be difficult. You only got 15 laps, but in a race you've got 44 laps and you've got tyre stops as well. So the chances are McLaren are going to find their way past, even if they've got cars that are fast in a straight line like the Ferrari and the Red Bull. They'll find their way past them in a pit stop if they can't get past them on the straight. So, I think you're going to see as the race unfolds, McLaren will, with their benefit to their tyres as well. I think that the Red Bull will probably fall away unless it's got itself in front at the start and can manage to ruin the race for the McLarens.
Well, they're going to have 44 possibly rain-drenched laps to try and figure it all out, which is
everything I just said is completely redundant
if the rain comes in.
Rains, of course. I just want to caveat that.
If the rain comes in, then it's anyone's guess at what's going to happen. We talk about the Ferrari, the Charles Leclerc qualifying up in third. Brilliant result, really, especially when you put it up against what's going on with Lewis Hamilton this weekend. It was a pretty dismal sprint qualifying and sprint race for him. Didn't make any progress, and then he gets knocked out in Q1. Hamilton will start down in 16th for the Grand Prix.
Yeah, and also, he has to admit, it wouldn't have been there if he hadn't have taken too much of the curb and had his lap time deleted. He would have got through, but this is another weekend where Charles has managed to get third on the grid, and it's not glory days for Lewis Hamilton, and we're going to have to wait a bit. Will it come? That's the big question. Is this season going to be one long, sad story of Lewis Hamilton struggling to get results that warrant his immense talent?
Well, we know Ferrari are trialling new upgrades. Hamilton is very much writing the management team letters of what they can improve and what needs to change. But let's hear from Hamilton speaking to Lawrence Barretto after qualifying.
Hey Lewis, saw you sitting in the car a little bit after that run, obviously finding out that your lap got deleted. How much does it hurt? Because it looked like you'd done enough, obviously, right at the end there.
Oh, it's incredibly painful. It's turning out to be a pretty bad weekend so far.
I know there's been some positives. I know you probably don't look at them now, but it felt like you were getting a bit more comfortable with the brakes. Can you feel like there is something, because anything can happen around this kind of magical track, even if it rains tomorrow?
Anything can happen here. I think, I don't know. I have no clue about tomorrow. It's going to be very hard from where I am. So definitely a weekend to forget.
Understandably downbeat from Lewis Hamilton then. If we just go back up to the top then and look at some of the other good results, it's a nice sort of bottom half of the top 10 really. Alex Albon, I think, surprised us right at the very end in the Williams. Managed to get that car up inside the top 5, out qualifying the Mercedes of Russell.
Yeah, if you were dishing out medals, you'd have to say Alex Albon has to get one for his performance in qualifying here in Spa. That's an amazing achievement to split. Really, he's joined the big guys, hasn't he? He's qualified ahead of George Russell. He's out-qualified a Red Bull, and fifth is a fantastic result for them.
Yeah, his teammates all the way down in 15th, and while he has out-qualified both Mercedes, Russell is 6th. Kimi Antonelli, another of the big names to fall, down in 18th. He was knocked out in SQ1 yesterday as well, and Mercedes just seem a little bit lost this weekend, but Antonelli, I wonder if there's cause for concern creeping in now.
He will be feeling a little bit of pressure now because the hype was probably too much for Kimi as he came into this season. He's you get a learning season. He's with a top team. Okay, they're not running at the front where they used to be. This is pretty much how they were last year. They're struggling. Although of course George did actually win this race with incredible strategy. But the work is there for Kimi to do to actually convince people that he's got the flair. I mean, I did say earlier, he got the sprint pole in Miami. And which was a surprise. But then we're seeing anomalies really with the sprint results. You can't really go on a sprint result and say that is representative. Lewis Hamilton's won a sprint in China. There's some, you can change the setup. So the sprint result is not indicative of what they can be doing in a Grand Prix. And ultimately you're measured by your pace, your speed, and whether you don't make mistakes or not. And Kimi is now starting to use up some of his credits, I think you'd have to say, in terms of whether we're going to regard him as a future Grand Prix star or not. I'm sure he's got more to offer, but we need to see that now.
Yeah, we certainly do. Now we've passed the halfway point of the season. Closing out the top 10, Gabriel Bortoleto and the Sauber managed to get inside that. Out qualifying teammate Hulkenberg, both racing bulls, Hadjar and Lawson through as well. And I think, should we end with a shout out to Yuki Tsunoda in the second Red Bull, which has been well off the pace, almost no matter who you put in that car. But for Tsunoda, the pressure continues to ramp up. This is actually his best qualifying since arriving at Red Bull. Whilst Verstappen was fourth, Tsunoda was in seventh, a few tenths adrift of his teammate. I think that's the closest he's been so far.
It's incredible. I mean, it's like someone's flicked a switch and suddenly he's within 3/10, which is what you'd expect for a difference between a star driver and a guy who's really good. Tsunoda, not 1.5 seconds, not over a second. That's unusually large, that kind of gap between drivers. So I don't know where that's come from, but a good performance for Yuki Tsunoda this weekend.
Yeah, really good. So let's hope that continues in the Grand Prix, which you will be able to hear all 44 laps of on 5 Live. Lights out from 2 o'clock. Damon, top 3 predictions?
Well, it's going to be 2 McLarens. I mean, barring any kind of mishaps and wet weather and stuff, that caveat is always there. I think Charles might be in a battle, a race-long battle with Max Verstappen. So it could be one of those two taking up their final podium places. I'm not.
Sounds like you're sitting on the fence to me,
well,
Damon.
I don't want to give it away.
I'm going to go for a Piastri win. I think there's something about him this weekend so far that we've seen, and I think starting second would be beneficial.
If Piastri wins this, then he's more likely going to become world champion, because Lando has to stop this slide constantly, getting
especially
ahead.
Now Lando's in a run.
Yeah, there needs to be a trend direction. And of course, the trend direction with Oscar is up, it seems to me.
Lando Norris looking for his 3rd Grand Prix win on the bounce. Oscar Piastri looking for his 1st win since the Spanish Grand Prix. Let's see what awaits us. The weather certainly unpredictable, with a slightly mixed up grid and cars wanting to carve their way through the back of the pack. We'll have it all for you on 5 Live. Until then, though, we shall see you for the Belgian Grand Prix. This has been an IMG production for BBC Radio 5 Live.